Mr. Chuck Kong Soon, President of the Singapore Computer Society, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. In the middle of my speech, I will deviate from my speech and I will share with you a personal experience on business continuity management and how that affected me personally. Now, many of us recognize cloud computing as a game changer. The nimble and versatile nature of cloud computing makes it possible for companies that tap on it to have flexibility to upscale and or downscale their computing resources as necessary to suit their business needs by responding quickly to their customer or market conditions. Cloud computing is increasingly playing a role which impacts many people in our society. Cloud computing is also increasingly a key infrastructure service backbone for this new world of mobility where users rely on cloud computing to obtain fingertip-ready information and e-services. Many companies and economies depend on their cloud computing service to operate smoothly and reliably. Quoting a study conducted in May and June of this year, and it's commissioned by NTT Com Security, 3/4 of Singapore enterprises already have or plan to replace their data centers with cloud. The same study reports that 65% of Singapore companies have already adopted cloud to handle most of their data and services, or plan to do so within a year, placing Singapore at the forefront of cloud computing in Asia amongst other Asian countries surveyed. Enterprise and government bodies also use cloud computing to work on big data challenges. Cloud computing can help or mitigate or even improve a company's infrastructure resilience as a medium for business continuity in the event of some disaster that impacts the office. Tapping into cloud computing also provides companies the opportunity to leverage on new ways of work. This is a radical new business opportunity that will help save costs for companies or those companies looking to expand. Much of this has been facilitated by IDA's focus on growing the infrastructure capability of Singapore, such as our next-gen nationwide broadband network, that through a higher speed broadband has allowed us to have pervasive cloud computing. About 95% of Singapore is now connected to NBN with all the homes fiber ready. And we are probably the fastest and the most penetrated fiber nation in the world. Let me share some examples of how cloud computing can change the dynamic of work. First, new high-speed broadband and cloud computing opens up, as I mentioned before, new ways of work. Of course, Singapore companies today are facing infrastructure issues such as office growth, space growth. Telecommuting from home or working from outdoors, such as IDA Smart Work Centers, is one possible solution to resolve infrastructure worries while also effectively tapping on new sources of workers. Just to give you a preview, we have launched our call for collaboration for Smart Work Centers, and we are at the final stages of preparing awards. And from what I've seen, the prizes that's being offered by companies that will be providing Smart Work Centers are very, very attractive. So look out for it. Cloud-based telecommuting also allows workers who were previously prevented from returning to the workforce due to a need to remain at home, perhaps to look after elderly family or members or young children, to continue to contribute effectively to the economy. One example, and that was one of our previous awardees, is Rasa Sayang Healthcare, which is a homegrown SME. The company provides nursing services, and through the utilization of cloud and telecommuting has increased the effective time nurses can spend with needy patients rather than traveling back and forth to fill up paperwork at the offices. They basically go from the home to the patients' homes. Secondly, big data, with its ability to uncover hidden patterns or calculations, also relies on cloud computing's help. Proper leveraging of big data can leverage the competitive advantages and result in business benefits, such as more effective marketing and increase in revenue. An example is the local arm of the retailer Best Denki. Utilizing big data analytics, they are able to more accurately and quickly forecast demand for and optimize inventory rather than relying on the floor manager's gut feeling. Business continuity planning is also crucial to companies, and cloud computing makes this affordable. Cloud's pay-for-use capacity on demand model keeps companies lean without compromising on quality. The National Environment Agency, for example, utilized a cloud-based content delivery network to handle sudden spikes in traffic on their website, such as the recent haze epidemic. Previously, companies might have to build an entire duplicate IT backup system that was cost and space and time expensive. This substantial and complex problem is now much reduced by virtualizing data onto the cloud. The hardware-independent data can then be safely and accurately transferred or backed up to prepare for worrisome eventualities such as data crashes or replicated when businesses expand. Crucially, this puts disaster recovery and business continuity plans in the reach of smaller companies who may expect to see most gains from moving onto the cloud. And now my own personal example. So I've talked about the good part. Then what about the bad and the ugly? A few years ago, I was traveling in one of the European cities, and after staying at the hotel for about 3 days, my flight leaves that city at 6 a.m. in the morning. So at about 3 plus, about 3:30 in the morning, I went to the checkout counter and was about to pay for my hotel bill to leave. And a person was at the desk. I said, great, I can get out as quickly as possible. And the person told me, well, our systems are down, so we don't have information about your bill. It will be very difficult for us to process, your exit. I said, okay, whatever, so what do? I have a flight at 6 a.m. in the morning. I have to leave. So I said, well, we do not know how many days you spend here, and I can't process a credit card payment. Do you have cash? I said, cash? Well, I don't think I carry that much cash for 3 days stay. So I said, well, I don't have enough cash and I need to leave. So what is the solution? So the guy thought about it. I said, well, can't you go to the, like your office behind and reboot the thing, or, aren't people repairing? He said, well, I'm sorry, we are using the hotel software as a service and I do not know what's happening. And right now I'm just waiting for it to come out. I said, so when did it go down? It came down at 1:30 in the morning. So I do not know what the status. I said, okay, so finally the guy says, he says, I tell you what we'll do. You pay me whatever cash you have. I will trust that you leave me your credit card number. Okay, you leave me your credit card number. And as soon as system comes up, I will, make the payment. And I will inform you of exactly how much I've deducted from your thing, and I'll send you the hotel bill. If you trust me, I look at you, I trust you. I said, what do you trust me? So I said, okay, anyway, I said, I've got to leave. Okay, I'll leave you a credit card. I said, you give me a name card, give me a contact information, so if anything goes wrong, I know who to look out for. So I gave him a credit card number, and I left. So that was on a Friday. And so on Monday, I had this email with a total hotel bill with the amount of money that's deducted from a credit card. So it's an interesting story because systems let us down. But what recovered was really the person, the people. And I think no matter what you do, at the end of the day, how many systems you have to back up each other, systems will fail. And no matter how much resilience. And ultimately, it's the people that make the difference. So this certification is a good thing. So I would say, please make sure you yourself or your employees get themselves certified. So anyway, let me carry on my speech. So around the world, there has been several bumps in the use of cloud computing. In the first half of 2013, there have been about 9 major cloud reliance brand name websites which have gone down worldwide, exposing the issues still inherent in this technology. And these are names recognizable to anyone, and the cost of their downtime is difficult to fully measure, but estimates suggest that a 50-minute downtime during one of these incidences can cost the website some $5 million in lost sales. Now, this does not factor in other revenue losses arising from loss of goodwill and potential future loss of revenue derived from the downtime. Now, we do not want to reactively wait for such events to occur here before acting. As such, Singapore has already begun to work towards providing its own set of guidelines to encourage companies to continue to invest in Singapore as a prime location to do business in the Asia-Pacific region. So Singapore has begun implementing standards and guidelines and legislations to provide clarity for companies and consumers, such as the SS507 standard, which was the world's first data disaster recovery business continuity service provider, as well as the Personal Data Protection Act. And there's a story behind this SS507 as well. It was an interesting story, because I just joined ID in the year 2000. And one of the companies with data centers, those were the days when data centers were just coming out and lots of investments. There was a company that was called FailSafe, and that failed. And when it failed, we have all sorts of data that was, and of course resources in that data center. And since the guy had fled town, there was no way. So the liquidator had basically locked up the thing and had been threatening to turn off the power. And so we went into emergency mode, basically talked to the liquidator, said, please do not turn off the power. I said, some of the assets belong to companies here. If you turn them off, you'll be terrible. And so after going through the entire incident and helping companies get their resources out and migrate their stuff to another data center, we decided to do something about it. And that was the genesis of this SS507. That's why we're the world first. It just happened to us. So in addition to facilitate further adoption of cloud computing, the government has proactively utilized the cloud for such initiatives as data.gov.sg and CoreNet to allow companies to tap onto our data and generate innovative new products for consumers, such as quantum inventions, which helps logistics and transportation providers to better optimize their fleet routing and navigation in real time by crunching data traffic and tolls. Understandably, there are still issues surrounding cloud services that will cause companies to hesitate, and solutions of them are still pending or sometimes nowhere in sight. So, for example, the aforementioned NTT Com security study noted that 88% of Singapore companies cited compliance issues as one of the factors slowing down cloud adoption. A pressing need is to address also the issue of data sovereignty in the post-PRISM era. Data access and cross-border data flow can lead to questions on jurisdiction. As such, we would like to share with you the thoughts of the Cloud Outage Incident Response. I say again, the Cloud Outage Incident Response Working Group, or the COIR work group that has been convened. The COIR work group was formed to examine how companies can rest assured their businesses remain unaffected should a cloud service provider face outages and or data loss, such as when Yahoo's subsidiary, Osaka-based First Server, did in June 2012. The work group is made up of representatives from the Singapore Infocom community's private and public sectors, such as the SCS, the ITMA, SITF, CSA, DSTA, and, of course, IDA. The focus of the COIR is on incident response procedures and business continuity plans that should be implemented so cloud services know how to react. We expect many cloud users to be SMEs, and such a disruption will undermine confidence in the cloud adoption if negative impacts were not dealt with properly. The work group has already met twice, and some possibilities have been raised as suggestions, including delivering a set of guidelines or possibly enforceable standards on incident response and business continuity for cloud users, particularly SMEs, should the disruption to their business arise, such as from a cloud outage or CSP going out of business, data loss, or leakage. Take airplanes. Users know what to expect should they purchase a budget airline ticket compared to a top-tier airline. The same principle should apply to cloud service providers, and we encourage both cloud service providers and companies looking to get on board to offer their feedback when more details are ready to be shared on the COIR. To conclude, cloud computing is affordable, robust, and flexible, and can help companies prepare for both the best and the worst as they grow. You will be prepared not just for business continued disaster recovery, but you will also enjoy the cost management and productivity gains. As some of the examples I shared with you illustrate, at the end of the day, is a human being behind it, more than just machines. And certification on manpower is always very, very important to ensure that your customers continue to have confidence in the service that you put out. So on this note, I wish you all an enjoyable and fruitful time at this seminar. Thank you.